The topic, Marcus Davenport. The question, is he a bust or actually a great player? Let's just get into it. One of the reasons why the Saints were so adamant to get Davenport was because of his size. He's a guy who's 6'6", and his arms are long. When I heard he was 6'6", I was like, wow, only 6'6", because he plays so much taller. I would have guessed he's like 6'8" or something. Watch this play, for example, and watch how it can be effective, where he's going up one-on-one against right tackle DeMar Dotson, and right when the ball is snapped, notice how he's going to stick his right arm out like that. Now, typically, this is no big deal for a tackle, right? I mean, you can just, as you even see, Dotson has his left arm on Davenport's right arm. You just try to sort of push the arm out of the way and then get the hand placement you want, and that completely negates the reach advantage. That's what Dotson is going to try and do here. However, Davenport is strong enough on this play that he just keeps that arm on there and is able to push him back, make him fall over, and get the Jameis Winston for a sack. Just a really good play. You kind of see why Tampa Bay upgraded at right tackle as well, but also just a really good play from Davenport, I think. And that shows how his reach advantage can really be effective on sort of those stab move type plays. I do think that, his highlight reel is unbelievably impressive, and he's just, he's a freak of nature in terms of just like, his body type and how just physically, monstrous he is. He's 6'6", 265 pounds, and ran a 4.59 40-yard dash. So just stupidly good. And you definitely see it come into play at times. His highlights are fantastic. Like on this play, going up one-on-one against 65 right there. And right when the ball is snapped, he's going to sort of start off as though he's just going to be doing a bull rush. Get both hands on 65 and try to push him back. And so if you're 65, what is your idea? Okay, I'm going to push you back. I'm not going to let you push me in that direction. But for Davenport, he's using this against him. At first, it looked like it was going to be a bull rush, but that is not what Davenport is doing. Instead, he's doing a pull club, which is basically he's going to try to pull 65's right side of his body, and then he's going to also push his left side of his body. So basically, try to get him twisted around. And again, watch how it works out. Pushes him, pulls him, and just completely gets him out of the way. And again, those long arms to make a sack. I mean, it's hard to get around him when he's in your crosshairs. So he's great, right? I mean, those two plays are fantastic. So clearly he's great. So end of video. Thank you guys for watching. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, there is more to talk about. I mean, he was so hyped up out of college and hasn't necessarily been perfect since entering the NFL. New Orleans essentially gave up 2 first-round picks and a 5th-round pick to make sure that they get Davenport, which was a big price to pay. And I do think there are some negatives, although I think his negatives are pretty overblown. He's not a bust. He's a very good player. One of those negatives, I think, is that he sometimes gets too reliant on his hands. I do think he sometimes gets too reliant on his hands. Like on this play, going up one-on-one against a tackle, and he's going to try to swipe the tackle's hands out of the way. But watch how he isn't able to do it, and then eventually just goes down. And he kind of didn't really have the footwork to recover. You also see one of the whitest stances you will ever see in the National Football League. But back to the play, he tried too much on his first move, and I think he sometimes needs to work on really his footwork. I think his footwork and explosiveness is definitely something that could be better. One thing worth mentioning, though, is that the guy's 23 years old. Like, he's very young. I think a lot of people think he's a bit older. And defensive linemen, especially big defensive linemen, historically take, usually you say the rookie year, they're never even going to be successful. Usually it'll be their second year that they start to show some success. He wasn't fantastic his second year, but he was really good. I mean, he was a really good player. And so, again, not what he was hyped up to be, but still very good. And if he can get that footwork down, he could very quickly become one of the best in the league, no doubt about it. I mean, for sure. I do have to say, though, there was actually, I think it was 3 of his sacks, and he had 6 sacks last year, and 3 of them were the other offensive line screwing up. Like, this play is a good example where, so this is the blocking concept. And tell me, what do you see that's wrong with this picture? Well, the right tackle, he's blocking someone one-on-one. That makes sense. Meanwhile, Atlanta has 3 offensive linemen on another interior defensive lineman, the one who's into zero technique. That seems like a bit much, but, we'll move on. There's now going to be the tackle, 70. He's blocking another interior defensive lineman, which means Davenport, who's on the left, he's going to get chipped by 87, the tight end, and then that's it. No one's on him. Clearly, there was a mistake made by Atlanta. The left guard should be blocking an interior defensive lineman, and 70 should be finishing off Davenport after the chip. They screwed this up, and right when the ball is snapped, you notice that Davenport is able to get there very quickly. It is possible that this was the plan was just get rid of this ball very quickly, and that's why I didn't have him blocked. But either way, just a play that shouldn't happen for Atlanta. While he does deserve some credit for, Davenport does deserve some credit for getting there quickly, honestly, not a ton. I mean, that wasn't a tremendous play by Davenport. It was more so just a bad play by Atlanta, in my opinion. And he had a few of those. So I do think his stats were actually a bit inflated as opposed to not as good in terms of the pass rushing game. And I do think his pass rushing needs some work. But what doesn't need work is his run defense. Like this play, for example, the way it's going to work for Seattle is you see in the circle, it's going to be 76 blocking Davenport on that play. You also have a left guard and center who will double team an interior defensive lineman. One of them gets off that block to block a linebacker. So really that's where they want to run the ball, in between their left tackle and left guard, and there's a double team on the interior defensive lineman. So in a lot of ways, Davenport is very important on this play. Also worth noting that there is a defensive back who's right off screen, but that is the guy who is going to be the contain man on this play. So for Davenport, he doesn't have to worry about trying to make sure that he gets to contain, because there's another player over there. So what he's going to do is watch how he just shoves 76 into that gap right there where there could have been an opening. And now at this point, he's allowing his teammate to run in and make the play. That's just a very good play, and it works out. They only give up 1 yard. Davenport even hopped back in to try to help make the tackle. But again, just a really good play by Davenport, and I think that's one of the things that he can do very well. He's a fantastic run stopper, one of the best run-stopping defensive ends or edge rushers in the league right now. I think it's worth mentioning that we still haven't seen him play a full season yet. He had about 550 total snaps last year, which for comparison, you look at someone like Cameron Jordan, and him for the past 8 seasons has always had at least 950 snaps. The only year he didn't was 2011, where he still had 650 snaps. So we've yet to see really Davenport have a full year just yet, and he's definitely shown some tremendous flashes. And while you might say, hey, it's his second year in the NFL, he's also still just 23, and a lot of guys have their rookie season at 23. Although I'm sure some Saints fans are saying, well, listen, okay, great, tremendous potential, sure, but can you hurry up on this potential and try to, get to it now, because we have a Super Bowl to win. We don't know how many years we have with Drew Brees left. But at the same time, I do kind of stand by that. I think Davenport can be very good, and don't be too quick to give up on these big guys on the defensive line. They take some time, and Davenport has shown some tremendous flashes. He really has, and he's still a good player now. He's just not, maybe up there with some of these other guys just yet. I would still probably say he was the second best edge rusher even right now in that draft class. It's just that Bradley Chubb was, he's number one in my opinion. He's a really good player, but I do think that Davenport is very good. I am high on him. I think my bold prediction is he'll have at least 10 sacks next year. That's what I think. And again, he's not perfect, but he's young, so give him time. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.